Yeah, hi Nicole. Thank you for agreeing to do this little post-test interview. So you've just done your part three a little while ago, as I was on holiday at the time. So I've got back and thank you for agreeing to do this. So would you just like to share with you that you've done your part three and how'd you get on? What was the result?
I was quite pleased actually today because this came through in the post
Oh,
as well. So it was good timing for the little
brilliant.
meeting. So no, I think I made the initial phone call back in July last year, as it's something I was considering. And yeah, we had a good chat on the phone, I remember, and made the decision to give it a go.
And so that was back in July. And so what?
Yes.
Just over a year. So end of September, well, it was
Yeah.
mid-September when you passed, wasn't it?
Yeah, I went I did my part one in September of last year because I remember that I thought I'd better spend the summer sort of reading up again. So I was like on holiday on the beach with my highway code of all things and
Yeah.
brushing up on my skills. And then I felt a bit more ready to sort of do the part one in September.
Brilliant. And do you want to just share with you your result? Because people will be, you passed, obviously, you got your green badge. So how'd you do?
Yeah, so managed to pass the part one, two, and three all first time, which was quite nice.
And the score, yeah, the score for your part three
Yeah,
was
I managed to get a grade A too. So that was unexpected and quite, yeah, I'd say overwhelming that sort of all the hard work and the reading and things sort of paid off. So it was a good feeling.
yeah, and I think the examiner said how rare that is.
Yeah, he said not many part threes will pass with a grade A.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
so that kind of made it feel even better.
yeah, and on the first go as well. I mean, like, wow, brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
that is really good. So, yeah. So, do you want to share a bit about like your journey? So, when you've started and like sort of how the training went and sort of any problems or pitfalls, what you find
Okay.
hard, or anything you want to
Yeah.
share, really.
So yeah, part one passed in September. Then I got my part two went on hold, and I had that just before Christmas last year. So those two bits are out the way, and then I spent the start of this year with your DIT kit, and it was invaluable to me. So that training kit with all the videos and the information was brilliant because it gave me such a lot of knowledge before I got into the car
Brilliant.
for our
Yeah.
training sessions.
Yeah. I find that the people that do it properly, like you did, yeah, when we get in car, we can just sort of hit the ground running, can't we? Just get on with it. And
Yeah, because I was nervous that I wouldn't know anything. And I was like, that really opened up my eyes into sort of what I was getting myself into. And yeah, it gave me so many good, like, questions, thought provoking things already at that early stage, which I think really helped me.
of course, you did that, and then we get in car, did the 40 hours, um, so in car training,
We
and
did.
while we were doing the training, did you have any sort of contact with other ADIs, or was it pretty much just
No, at that
everything?
point, it was just you and I. So we obviously did the role play and things, which, yeah, I enjoyed. But I think it never maybe, yeah, I was still a bit worried because I knew you wouldn't crash your own car. So, um, yeah, trying to find that balance of practicing the instruction. But yeah, it was a good sort of training experience.
Brilliant. And then you got your first trainee license, and that
Yes.
started in from.
April? Yeah, it was sort of mid-April that started.
And so if you started that in April, by the time you passed your part three, took your part
Yeah.
three, you must have only had very little time left on
Yeah, I
it.
think it was about 5 months. I think I've got about I had about 3 weeks left on the pink license. Yeah,
Brilliant.
because I wanted to make as much use of that pink license to sort of get as much experience as I could before taking the plunge and giving the part three a go.
That's it. And that really would be my advice because I speak to a lot of people and from various schools and things, and a lot of them are taking it after 3 months, which is it may be a bit too soon. So in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion,
don't
I think the
feel I
longer
would have
the
been ready. Yeah, after
Yeah.
3 months. So I'm glad that I waited. I took your advice, waited sort of more 5 months, and it was, yeah, I think a wise choice for me.
Good. So you did that. So do you want to share with us about the test, the part three? How did it go? A bit about your pupil.
Yeah.
I want to share really about your
Yes, I think sort of the main thing that really helped me on my pink license sort of prepare for that test was getting out with all the other ADIs within any spare time I had. I mean, all the other ADIs are fantastic. They were so welcoming, said, come and watch all my lessons. So, yeah, I think probably at least once a week I was out with somebody. And for me, that gave me such an insight on how to put the skills that I'd learned into use. So that was gave me a really good start on the part three. And yeah, I got the test date through and I sort of panicked a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But at the time, I only had three pupils. So I was a bit worried about picking a pupil. Would they let me down? But the lady I picked, she was absolutely lovely. And I would definitely say the right pupil is sort of key. You want somebody who's going to talk to you, answer your questions, and
yeah,
yeah,
and be there,
and
reliable.
be there. Yeah, she was thankfully yeah, I couldn't have wanted for a better pupil really. So yeah, she was really good. So yeah, the date sort of rocked around. It was on a Monday at 8:30 in the morning. And I think the nerves kicked in on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um I know everybody says don't prepare for it, but I did go for a little drive and just think, where could we go? What could we do? And things like that, based on her learning needs and goals. So I did that on the Sunday to try and settle my nerves. And
So you went
yeah,
out with her. You went out with your pupil on the Sun.
no, I just went out
Oh,
all on my own
right.
round.
Yeah. It's just sort of
Yeah,
get
because we had a
idea.
lesson. Yeah, we had a lesson together on the Friday. So I'd identified and she'd identified what she wanted to work on. So I thought, so I know where I'm going and what I'm doing, I'll go and have a little drive and
Around
yeah,
the practice areas, sort of you
yeah,
sort of had
familiarize
a.
myself. Yeah.
That's a good
So
idea.
that was on the Sunday, and then Monday rocked round and I arranged to meet the pupil an hour before at 7:30. So I turned up to her house, and just as I pulled in to her road, I sort of had a phone call from an unknown number. I thought, oh, strange at 7:30 on a Monday. Answered it, and it was the DVSA saying that my test had been cancelled as the examiner was no longer available. Yes, which put a bit of a moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you
So
take the
thank
day off? Had you arranged to keep Monday clear for?
yeah, I
Yeah.
purposely booked no other lessons in. I thought, pass or fail, I'm going to want the rest of the day to sort of, yeah, gather my thoughts and hopefully rejoice in it. But yeah, so the pupil got in the car and I was like, oh, should we still have the lesson? And off we went. So about 15 minutes into that lesson, I had another phone call. So we pulled over and I answered it, and it was the DVSA again saying that they found me a cancellation, and it was for the Wednesday. So yeah, 2 days later, which was quite surprising.
And
Um,
and did you use the same pupil?
yeah, so I sort of looked across to my pupil and I was like, "Are you free Wednesday morning?" And she was like, "Yes, I am." So I was like, "Thank you."
How lucky
Yeah,
is
so
that?
that worked out well.
Oh, so it was stressful then.
Very stressful. I sort of mentally, when you mentally prepare for something, and to have it, yeah, sort of the plan not go to plan threw me a little bit. But on the Tuesday night before the new part three, we went out for dinner with some of the other ADIs, and they were really good at calming my nerve. They're like, "You've got this, calm down." So that
It's
was
good
good.
that you still went. Because I did wonder whether you'd go to the old Tuesday night social thing. And
I
yeah,
nearly didn't, but I was like, no, don't sit at home and stir on it. If there's a better place to be, it's with a whole group of other ADIs. So yeah, it was good.
brilliant. So you rocked up again Wednesday morning,
Yeah,
same people. And
same
yeah,
people.
do you want to sort of just briefly sort of run us through like how you left? Because we haven't
Yeah,
spoke.
so
You sent me
we
a
sort of got
text. I was on holiday saying you passed. And I'm like, wow, can we do a Zoom? So yeah,
yeah.
I literally don't, I want to hear.
Yeah, so Wednesday morning rocked around, picked the pupil up. We sort of had an hour or so before. On our way to the test centre, she said she wanted to work on mini roundabouts. We'd done a lot on the larger roundabouts, but she felt she struggled a little bit more on the mini ones. So that was going to be the goal for that lesson. So we got to the test centre about 10 minutes before, and just as I pulled in, the phone went again, and I was like, oh no. So this time it was a voicemail because we were driving, and I picked up as we got there, and it was the examiner saying he's stuck in traffic and he's going to be about 20 minutes late. So I was like, oh, at least he's coming. But yeah, so it started 15 minutes after planned, but sort of gathered my thoughts in the waiting room before we went. And yeah, he turned up, had the briefing, and then yeah, got into the car and off we went.
And so how long were you sort of doing your little chit chat for? Was it quite brief, or did you need to explain many things to your pupil, or how did that go?
Yeah, no, I think because she'd got the concept of all the larger roundabouts, we just talked about the different risks and things with the mini ones. And because it was 8:30 in the morning, we hadn't driven at that time together. So we just sort of covered the school run. There was quite a lot of low sun as well on the day, which was a bit glary. So yeah, covered the risks that we might find out there. And then off we went.
Brilliant. So you did your lesson on your mini, but did you end up doing a lesson on mini roundabouts or...
No,
Oh,
no.
right,
So
okay.
all that planning that I done, which everyone told me not to do, was really pointless because not any of it was sort of used. So
Right.
very quickly into the lesson, I don't know whether the pupil felt a few nerves potentially because she started making quite a few faults, which she never normally makes. So I was sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, and they kept coming. So there was one after another. And I was like, so I really had to think on my feet as to think, where do we need to start with sort of the most safety critical faults, and quickly needed to adapt that lesson completely off of what we planned to do.
So did you ever pull up? Did you need to pull her up and have a little
Yeah,
re-evaluation of what you were
it,
going to
it,
do? Yeah.
it came to a crossroad, and we had priority, but she stopped in the middle of the road and let a van out, which didn't have priority. So we quickly pulled up, just sort of said, oh, what's your understanding? Had a chat through things. And then I quickly looked at my maps and thought, where are some crossroads? So we could go and do some crossroads. So we changed and went on to those until she was a bit more happy and sort of remembered what she was doing with them.
Brilliant. Good. So so you did your crossroads, and was
Yeah.
there many time to do anything else, or yeah, anything points?
Yeah, and then we sort of started getting a little bit too close from the curb as we turned into the crossroads and we hit the curb. So then we started talking about space and things, and went on to fix that sort of fault. And then eventually, once that was done, we did manage to get the mini roundabouts in twice. So yeah.
And then did you get did the examiner need to sort of say, oh, we need to be heading back, or were you sort of in control of your time?
We'd gone over the roundabouts once and I just wanted to revisit them. So I did just turn around and sort of say, are we okay just to see those one more time on the way back? And he was like, yes, that's okay. And it worked out timing sort of perfectly. By the time we'd done that, we then started heading back.
And did you get your time extended because you were 15 minutes late? Did you?
Yes, he added the 15 minutes on to the end of the lesson. So yeah, still had the full 45 minutes.
Brilliant. So she got back and
Yeah,
then you round.
gave a little debrief to the pupil. She was happy, sort of went through the normal questions and things. How did she find things? And yeah, the examiner got out and I sat in the car for about 5 or 10 minutes and then, yeah, walked off to the test centre.
And Ivan, one of our ADIs, come up to give you a bit of support
He
because
did
I
kind
would normally have liked to have done that. So that was really nice of him, wasn't it, to come up
It
and
was indeed.
just
Yeah.
be with you. Good. And he come into the debrief as well.
Yeah, I said if he's happy to, would he come in with me just to listen? Because my worry was that I sort of wouldn't listen or take in what I was being told. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
nice to have Ivan there to yeah, listen for me as well. And yeah, no, it's good.
And so what was the feedback like?
Yeah, so straight away he said that I passed, and I thought, oh yes, lovely. And he went into some feedback of sort of what I did well, what I could also improve on. So it was nice to hear both sides of the lesson and his views. And then, yeah, towards the end of it, he then said about the grade and the mark, which was, yeah, quite surprising.
Very good. Yeah, well, as I was saying, like, to you previously, like, having come out with you on your lessons, watching, had I seen the people you went out with? Is that one I'd seen?
No, you hadn't. Ivan had sat in with me on one of her lessons, and yeah, so he sort of had a view of her. But no, you hadn't seen her because we'd only had 6 hours together before I asked her to be my pupil. She'd done a bit of previous driving, so she was sort of a competent driver. But yeah, we were relatively new to one another.
Got it. So yeah, so I know you're surprised that you got that score, but from what I could see coming and sitting out with you, I think if I can vividly remember the first session, and I was like, do you know what? Predict an A for you. And I think we had a couple then where there was some areas where for you to look
Yeah,
at. And but yeah, no, consistently through this, because you've worked so hard and like so many that do this, you've done everything you could have done. You've worked really hard for it, haven't you? Um, through
definitely
study.
tried.
I
Yeah,
think most importantly, all this going out with the other ADIs and being in that group, you've sort of really, yeah. Have you so they've come out and sat with you? Have you
yeah.
did you go and sit with them and watch them do their lessons?
Yeah, loads. I mean, the support both ways from them in my lessons, me in their lessons. I mean, even Sarah, I had a phone call with her on the Saturday before my test for an hour, and she just ran through her part three. And yeah, everyone couldn't have been a more supportive bunch of people. And yeah, really amazing to get out and yeah, get that help and help one another.
So now you're a grade A ADI. Would you be
Yeah.
up for any PDIs coming and
Oh, of
watching?
course. I
Sitting
had
and
one out,
yeah.
I think I had one out last week, and yeah, he came and sat on the back of my lesson. So yeah, already
Brilliant.
there. But
Oh well, that's really kind of you because honestly, it just really does help, doesn't it? You feel on your own, like you're doing it. It's just you and the pupil, and you
yeah.
do often think, "Am I doing this right?" Yes,
Hmm.
and to get it re confirmed from an examiner, and to hear that you are doing it right, then
Yeah,
that's just good to know, isn't it?
definitely.
Yes, so brilliant. No, really well done. I mean, that I don't know what percentage get a grade A on their part three, but it's got to be less than 10%.
Do you
It's
think?
oh
Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's got to
Yeah.
be.
It was
Yeah.
a stressful journey, but I think if you put the hard work in, and because I still was working my other job as well, and it was yeah, it was a bit crazy, but we got there. A lot of late night videos, your Zoom calls as well with all the other PDIs, they really helped
Oh,
talk through all the experience, and yeah, it was really good.
brilliant. So I'll wrap it up there. Unless you've got anything to add, any sort of particular people you wanted to personally thank. Like I know, I guess the danger of that is you might forget someone 'cause so many stuff that have helped
Yeah,
you.
all of like Chris, Mike, Ivan, Catherine, Sarah, anybody who sat down with me for 5 minutes over any of those meals. Yeah, thank you so much because they're the people that really helped me also get across the line. And obviously yourself. Couldn't have done it without you and Sam in the
Well,
office.